God, law.
Astrology is the tits. 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 Astrology is the tits.
Hello, beautiful soul family, and welcome to the Walk On Podcast, the podcast where I try to demystify spirituality, personal growth and healing, and whatever else I feel like talking about. I'm your host, Britt Cannon, and this is the June 2025 Astrology Report. Well, the months just fly by, don't they? It has been busy and stressful around these parts, but also really full. I hope life has been unfolding positively for you, at the very least helping mold you into the person you have always been becoming. This month, we're looking at a Cancer stellium that I think will shift the vibes in a more positive direction. Through researching and writing this report, I found a lot of themes of balance, of trying to figure out where to give energy and how to live a holistic life. If you haven't listened to it, you should go check out my episode, Living a Holistic Life, of this podcast. I do an astrology reading and an astrology report and a theme episode every month, and that is this month's theme, which I think is not this month, but May 2025's theme, which I think is very appropriate for what we're walking into energy-wise in June. I feel there's going to be a lot of good lucks. I feel there's going to be a lot of good luck and a lot of positive vibes. Before we get started on the June info, I just want to say that at the end of May, we have Saturn conjunct Neptune in Aries. And this Saturn-Neptune conjunction, depending on where it is in your chart, I think is sort of wrapping up the month in maybe a frustrating, maybe a positive, maybe both at the same time type of way. One of my favorite things about astrology and spirituality in general is how it encourages you and opens you up to the nuanced experience of life. Like, so many things can be true at once, even if they're contradictory. And I think that's super important to keep in mind just as you navigate living at this moment in time. So Saturn is like the daddy of the solar system, and Neptune sort of has this delusion. I often think of Neptune as kind of like a fog. Maybe you can't see things totally clearly. And I think these two have oppositional energy in a lot of ways, because if Saturn is like super duper grounded and can be a little preoccupied with the material, it's like that joke of when someone is like, I don't believe in astrology, and then the person is like, okay, Capricorn, or like, okay, Virgo. But Saturn rules Capricorn, and there is that skepticism, that connection to the earthly plane, which it can be spiritual in and of itself. I've often thought this about my partner. While she's a Leo with Sag rising and an Aquarius moon, so there's not a lot of no earth in the big three. I have often found her to be intensely spiritual in a very practical and earthly way. There's a simplicity to her spirituality, which really appeals to me as someone whose spirituality is woo-woo as hell, right? I think we need, it truly does take all kinds to make the picture complete, and we all have something to teach each other. And so I think that's where Saturn is kind of coming from. And in Aries, it's already struggling a little bit because Aries is the baby of the zodiac, right? Aries is it's the new beginning. It's the maybe the Page of Wands in the tarot, which is like all the excitement, all the energy, all the passion in the world, but it's sort of one of those things that like burns out really quickly because there's no stamina behind it. There's no plan behind it. It's like impulsive, intuitive kind of movement for movement's sake even. And there's not a lot of grounded energy, and Saturn craves that grounded energy. They crave like a to-do list, a plan, thinking through the consequences of something. Like I think there's a reason why Saturn carries this energy of maturity, because that's what it is to be mature. Like even the most Aries, even if you have like a 5-planet stellium in Aries, eventually with time and practice and self-actualization, you would get to a place where you learn how to channel all that fiery, passionate, fun, playful energy into something that's more sustainable and like productive. And you would always do that through grounding. So Saturn's already struggling a little bit. And then we have Neptune in Aries, which, you know, Neptune rules Pisces. So it's like soft and watery and like I said, a fog. It's like where there's so much moisture in the air that it creates a lack of visibility, like a filter over our perception of things. And so it's like Saturn is wanting to bring the practicality and the maturity, and Neptune is wanting to engage in daydreams. And both of them are in Aries, which are like, it's not the most comfortable place for Aries. It's, you can think about like the danger of acting impulsively or intuitively when you're operating from a space of not having the full picture, or there being some secrecy around the issue that you don't quite understand. And you could see how these two would butt heads a little bit. And I've definitely been experiencing this. I'm recording this late because I had a lot of issues this month. My laptop died. Time has been really a struggle. I've had like doctor's appointments and just like, it's really busy, but it's like I haven't been able to get as much done. I haven't been able to tap into that Saturn of like my routine, my schedule, my calendar, which is painstakingly organized to make sure that I get everything done in the order they need to be done in order for me not to get stressed out and overwhelmed. And so here I am, 2 days away now from when this episode needs to go out, just now getting to it and recording it. I usually leave myself a week for this process. So I still have to finish recording it, edit it, upload it, write all the stuff about it, and start getting my marketing materials in order. So it's just a lot to do. And it's like all plans kind of went out the window. And so, you know, as we approach June 1st, remember that we're carrying that energy, that things may have been feeling a little chaotic, a little up in the air, a little like, I don't know. That's just like the vibe that we're bringing into the start of this month. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe, follow, leave me a comment. I work so hard on this podcast, and I'm just getting to the point where like I'm really needing to see some growth. And if you would like to, you could help me with that by hitting the notification bell, by signing up to follow the podcast, whether it's like on Spotify or wherever you listen, or on YouTube, and doing the subscribe thing. Give me feedback, send me questions, email me and tell me I'm doing a great job, you know, just like give me some good vibes, because it has been a struggle here lately. So let me get a little sippy sip of water from my giant Stanley Cup, which yesterday morning at 5 o'clock in the morning, I was carrying it with its little handle, which is usually fine. And for some reason, and this is, by the way, immediately after I put my Brita pitcher in the fridge, and then it slid out and spilled all over the place. Like all the kitchen was flooded. Oh, sorry, I have something itchy on my face. I think it's one of my hairs and it's driving me nuts. I have got to fix this. I really, really can't take it today. I'm PMSing like one day away from my period, and like literally I can't take it. Anyway, so Brita picture, spills everywhere. Talk about Saturn conjunct Neptune, maybe. And then as I'm walking this back to the bedroom to drink my matcha in bed, like I always do, and get started on writing this transcript, the top flies off of this, and this spills all over the bedroom. So the universe has been testing my patience. So here we go. June 1st, we have Venus conjunct Chiron in Aries at 26 degrees. The Sabian symbol here is a man possessed of more gifts than he can hold. Boy, do I understand this one. This hits home, baby. Home for me. This is about having all the talent, ability, passion, and drive you need, but for way too many things. It reminds me of the story of King Midas, you know, a king that is isolated, denying himself the simple and profound act of touch through the pursuit of unlimited abundance. If you don't know the story, King Midas wishes that everything he touches turns to gold. And then he ends up being really unhappy because he can't even touch the people he loves. Otherwise, he'll turn them into like a gold statue. And it's a cautionary tale about greed. I think this has a slightly more positive vibe than that story. This is about the struggle of a polymath. A polymath is someone who has in-depth knowledge about a wide range of things. It's someone who's capable of being an expert in many areas of life, areas that may or may not be connected in the slightest. Do you choose one area of focus, experiencing the grief of having to leave the other areas behind? Do you dabble, flitting back and forth, embracing a jack of all trades experience? Do you, at me, overschedule yourself, constantly juggling, trying to give at least 95% to everything you do, often dropping one or more of the 1,000 balls you're juggling while walking a tightrope, occasionally crashing to the ground for just long enough to get a little rest so you can bounce right back into the organized chaos the second you feel better? Once again, at myself. Tweaking your schedules and calendars and to-do lists and goals, hoping one day you really will be able to fit it all in. It's being a little bit too blessed, if there is such a thing. The advice for this, from someone who refuses to let any creative love pass me by: I won't do it and you can't make me. One bite, one task at a time. Looking at the big picture is sometimes a form of self-sabotage in these types of situations. Just put one foot in front of the other. Flow when you can. Are you having fun? Are you proud of what you're making? Then who cares? I understand that love is not in limited supply, but time is. So, making realistic plans and leaving time for rest is also very important. Tap into your intuition, which can alert you when you need to push yourself past limitations or surrender to them and take a break. This is certainly an overwhelming way to live, but TBH, it's also really fucking fun. Venus, the planet of love, creativity, beauty, and relationships, co-joins Chiron, the wounded healer, in Aries on June 1st. We have been doing a lot of relationship healing. I think it's significant that these two signs are in Aries right now. This reminds me of that Libra Aries eclipse cycle we went through recently in 2024 through the start of 2025. YouTube astrologer Annie Botticelli, whose work I love, calls this the me versus we axis. Libra cooperates, soothes, acquiesces, uses diplomacy, and in a lower vibration often compromises too much, leading to codependency and enmeshment. That's the we part. Community and cooperation, conflict mediation, mindful communication are integral to living a holistic life. Shout out again to May's Walk On podcast topic. The energy is still around. But that does not come at the expense of the sense of self. That is where Aries comes in. Me. Aries knows how to take action, how to take care of themselves, how to have firm boundaries, and honestly catches a lot of flack for doing what we all should be doing, which is prioritizing ourselves. I have this line in my song Walk On that's like, gotta look out for you, 'cause no one else is going to. And it was a reminder to myself. At the time when I wrote it, I was over giving to a lot of very selfish people. People who would never even acknowledge how much I was giving. Instead, they always seemed to let me know that I wasn't doing enough. Now, of course, I have a lot of people in my life who look out for me, but I feel I was only able to align with them once I learned how to look out for myself. It's not a bad thing to be the sun in your solar system. You actually are the main character of your life. It's just important to recognize as well that everyone else is the sun and main character of their lives and solar systems too. The universe is asking us to dig deeper into what a healthy balance of me versus we looks like. And remember, this is not something we're starting now. This is a continuation of a lesson we've been exploring for some time. Today would be a good day to journal about your relationship patterns, boundaries, and what you want out of your connections. Let any wounds that rise to the surface reveal themselves. Engage with them with curiosity. If you have someone in your life that feels safe, discuss them. Be vulnerable about them. Sometimes all we need for a wound to lose its power over us is to release the shame around it. Finally, Chiron always urges us to transmute our wounds into helping others. How have your wounds made a teacher out of you? How have you helped others through the ways that you've been hurt? How can you continue doing so? June 6th, Venus enters Taurus. We also have the moon in Libra at 20 degrees, sextiling Mars in Leo at 24 degrees. You know, as a Libra who is in a long-term relationship with a Leo, Libra and Leo, the sextile between our signs is like true friendship. We get each other. We know how to gas each other up. Like, we make each other laugh. Aesthetics are like, they vibe, you know? It's a happy combination. The Sabian symbol for 20 degrees of Libra is a Jewish rabbi, which is very redundant because it's like, if someone's a rabbi, they're Jewish. If someone's Jewish, they might not be a rabbi, but if someone is a rabbi, they're definitely Jewish. Anyway, Blaine Bovey says of the Sabian symbol, quote, self-transcendence is analogous to dying in a single breath of divine acquiescence. That is so the tea. Like, self-transcendence where you shed all the parts of you that are not authentic, is like an ecstatic experience. And I just watched the show Dying for Sex. And in it, a hospice worker explains like what happens to the body when you die, and how dying is just another process that your body does that it already knows how to do. All you have to do is surrender to the process. And I do think there's something really beautiful and healing about understanding that and carrying that with you. It makes death not this like scary esoteric thing, but just something that everyone goes through. And you can go through it gritting your teeth and resisting at every step of the way, you know, filled with resentment, filled with fear. Or you can go into the process with gratitude, with love, with surrender. And how you experience it is sort of up to you. And I feel like so much of life is about your perspective and like, you know, glass half full, glass half empty type of argument. It's like plenty of people can Eeyore their way through life. Does it lead to, you know, kind of a divine, like present holistic experience? Not really. It's the people who are the chronic optimists, you know, the people who are able to look on the bright side, who are able to be kind and present no matter what it is they're going through. Those are the people who can really make a difference in this world. Even though sometimes they feel more delulu than like tapped into anything higher or bigger, I see you, I appreciate you. And I also appreciate that trait in myself. And I think regardless of how people react or respond to your positivity, you're going to have a better or at least like more resilient time dealing with life. So this transit has a lot to do with release and surrender. Big changes are possible today, but not necessarily through striving, conquering, or forcing, but through divine exhale. Let it go. Let it be. For those who are practicing self-reflection, inner work, and healing, this is a very benefic transit. 24 degrees of Leo, the Sabian symbol is an untidy and unkempt man. I think the quote that resonates with me for this Sabian symbol is don't judge a book by its cover. Balance again. Know what you know, have confidence in yourself, and allow yourself to feel confident about what you're good at. On the other hand, practice humility. Know what you don't know. And see everything as your teacher. Maintaining that balance will never steer you wrong. Blaine Bovey discusses surfers in his explanation of this Sabian symbol. Quote, sunburnt, windswept, barefoot, and sand-caked, the surfer does not look like much by conventional appearances. However, the single-minded focus of being in harmony with the surf, in balance while shot through the curl of an accelerated fury of uncombed waves. This is the mark of a person undistracted by petty commercial temptations that hypnotize most. Unquote. Authenticity is a kind of discernment. Be so yourself that anything fake cannot even make waves in your ocean. Today, Venus comes home to Taurus. After being in Aries for the past couple months where Venus is in detriment, things will feel a little more cozy, a little more comfortable. Aries has been tearing down any old paradigms in love and relating that have stopped feeling good to us. Now, Taurus comes in to ground the lesson. This is a time of earthly beauty, so get outside, get your toes and fingers in the dirt, cook a delicious meal, settle down with the softest blanket you can find, roll a fat blunt, and have an orgasm in this big treat yourself energy. Moon sextile Mars may motivate you to find a balance between intuition and action, which is also something we've been talking about a lot for the past couple of months, and has to do with that balance, right? This is starting to feel like a theme already this month. This is a good time to reconnect with your long-term goals and assess how you have been taking practical action towards achieving them and making any necessary tweaks to your strategy. This could be a good time to catch the attention of investors, authority figures, or collaborators to help you meet those goals. This is a good transit, too, for healthy competition. So let yourself show how much you want something. There's nothing wrong with that. Enjoy this energetic, sociable, and passionate energy. It will bless those who are daring enough to harness it for their own progress. Blessed be. June 8th, we have Mercury conjunct Jupiter in Gemini at 29 degrees. But since we round up for the Sabian symbol, we're calling it 30 degrees. Mercury also ingresses into Cancer. And because of this Cancer pileup, it's like very important to talk about. The Sabian symbols here, 30 degrees of Gemini, is a parade of bathing beauties before large beach crowds. Love the beach symbolism that's coming around. This one is about the standards society sets and how they come about choosing what those standards will be. This reminds me of like a first date or a job interview where you put your best foot forward, talking about your achievements as a means of displaying your value. Do you know what makes you so damn lovable? Do you actually know your strengths? Can you speak about them without shame or imposter syndrome? Or worst of all, self-deprecation? Real quick aside. I'm not a fan of self-deprecation. I used to do it. I understand why we do it. I understand where it's coming from. And I also understand the backlash that you experience when you're a confident person, when you own your achievements, when you own your like skills and talents and abilities, and when you shout them from the rooftops, people have this like reaction to it. And so it can be really tempting to engage with self-deprecation. But I feel like if words are spells, if thoughts are spells, then you should talk yourself up. Like I said in the last little bit about Moon sextile Mars with Libra and Leo. It's important to be realistic about where you are, about what you're capable of, about where you struggle. Self-awareness is always a gift. But I feel like we're so anti-confidence, unless it's coming from like a cis straight white man, and then we're like, of course he's an authority. Of course he knows what he's talking about. So I feel like let's try to leave self-deprecation behind, because I mean, I think a little bit of making fun of yourself is really good. I think people who take themselves too seriously are like tough to be around and like aren't that fun actually. But if you can like look at yourself realistically, you know, laugh at the things that are funny, own your flaws, radically embrace yourself, then you can also radically embrace your strengths. And I just think that's really important for like a glass half full holistic life experience. Like, you are here to love yourself. And if you feel like you can't get there, then maybe unpack why you feel like you can't get there, because it is possible. It just happens like one small decision at a time. I struggle with this too, believe it or not, but I know how important it is to know your own value. It is also important to know your own values. What are your standards for the life you're building? What traits do you see as green flags and which ones are red? Which greater societal standards are really cramping your style? You can choose to release yourself from anything that doesn't serve you. Be discerning with what you internalize. It can really change your life. Today is like if a day could be good news. Optimism and curiosity are encouraged under this transit. This one's for the wiki walkers and the insatiable learners. Communication of all kinds is blessed here. You are lucky and expansive when you speak your mind in a way that is exciting, well-informed, and direct, but also like entertaining. I just heard a story about a woman who had a kind of mean, judgmental group of friends, and she decided to train them into being kinder by spraying them with a spray bottle every time they said something rude. Like that. Perfect time to socialize, so get out there and mingle. Any kind of business endeavor is favored at this time. Just be sure not to gloss over the fine print. Writing, publishing, pitching, it's all good, baby. Jupiter in Gemini sometimes struggles with impulsivity, so take your time. There really is no need to rush. If the download of ideas is overwhelming, just be sure to jot them down so you don't forget them when the energy passes. Oh, and please try to have a little fun. It's a good fucking day, y'all. Enjoy. June 9th, Jupiter ingresses into Cancer. This is significant because Jupiter feels so good in Cancer. In fact, it's exalted here. This transit will bring a year of luck, abundance, and good fortune to the Cancer house of your chart. If you'd like to see how this transit will affect you specifically, you can book an astrology consultation with me. Just click the link in my bio or in the description box below, and then the services tab. There will be a lot of emotional growth, as well as a focus on nurturing, noticing where we feel safe enough to open up, and family, which doesn't have to mean bio families. It can speak to chosen family as well. This month is churning up real new beginnings. I am so excited to see how this all plays out. Come back and let me know in the comments how Jupiter in Cancer changes things for you. This feels like the shift we've needed to finally manifest a softer way of being into the world. Things have been too hard for too long. I've always talked about how every person who clicks into the healing frequency raises the vibration of the earth, which makes it easier for others to awaken as well. And then more and more and more, like ripples in a pond. It's reverberating, my friends. Forgive the youth group leader energy I'm about to embody, but you can't spell revolution without L-O-V and E. I am so ready for this. June 11th, we have the full moon in Sagittarius at 21 degrees. The Sabian symbol is a child and a dog wearing borrowed sunglasses. When I read this, I was like picturing both the kid and the dog wearing borrowed sunglasses. But I'm not sure if just the dog is wearing them, just the child is wearing them, or if they're both borrowing sunglasses. Anyway, the cliche that comes to mind here is fake it till you make it. Sometimes, often, embodying the vibe of a thing before you actually are it can accelerate success. It reminds me of how when David Bowie was still unknown to anyone and frustrated with the lack of progress in his career, he decided to cultivate his image, his sense of style, his aura, the way he carried himself. He created a rock star, though he wasn't one yet. And wouldn't you know, he became one. There are people out there doing what you want to be doing with twice the confidence and half the ability. And that is going to fill you with rage and resentment if you don't figure out how to do that thing as well. So get out there. You've got everything you need within you. And anything you don't have yet, you can learn or cultivate or acquire. In life, in magic, in politics, don't let what is directly in front of you dictate what you believe is possible. That reminds me of my personal theme for 2025, which is dream bigger. It's like at this point, I've proven to myself that I can manifest. So now my challenge to myself is to manifest what I actually want instead of what I think I can get. So let yourself dream bigger and maybe you'll receive bigger. I'll report back when I start fucking manifesting. When the archer fires their arrow, they must first pull it back with exactly the right tension at the right angle to ensure an accurate hit. Sometimes we need to take a couple steps back to head in the right direction. Sagittarius loves to know. They will be the first to take out their phone to fact check a talking point in a group convo at a party. Engage with your life journey with that same kind of curiosity. Reflect on all the things that had to align to get you where you are, and consider all the things that are aligning to get you where you're going. Sagittarius loves to travel, so find a way to enjoy the journey as much or maybe even more than the destination itself. It's the in-betweens that are actually where all the magic happens. A finish line is fleeting, after all. It's just a blip between journeys. Take some time to ground, have a good conversation, write, philosophize, wax poetic, laugh, play outside, do something adventurous that makes you feel alive. Clarity will come when it is supposed to. For now, try to keep an open mind and just enjoy the ride. June 15th, we have Jupiter in Cancer square Saturn in Aries at 2 degrees. Squares, we know, bring tension. The Sabian symbol here is a man on a magic carpet hovers over a large area of land. 2 degrees of Aries, a comedian reveals human nature. 2 degrees of Cancer reminds me of the Hanged Man in the tarot. Sometimes to see something clearly, you need to look at it from a different perspective. If you find yourself ruminating endlessly on an issue you can't figure out how to resolve, try something new. Taking time away from others is crucial to turning up the volume on your own inner voice and turning down the volume on the rest of the world. This is very important self-care. Notice I didn't say turn off the other voices. It's important to not become an echo chamber of your own perceptions, but making the perceptions of others too important can also cause chaos. Balance is key. If you're in the thick of it and you feel like you can't even see the path in front of you, try taking a bird's eye view. How would I advise a friend in this situation? Have I ever navigated anything like this before? If I'm not ready to handle this thing, can I instead consider why I don't feel ready? Change will happen. Try not to waste too much time wishing it wouldn't, and instead put your focus on learning how to flow with it when you can. 2 degrees of Aries is a somewhat contradictory / complementary message. Sometimes we need another's perspective in order to see things clearly. You know how sometimes nothing I do matters can be comforting, and other times everything I do matters feels good? Or like the nothing matters dichotomy. Sometimes life is so absurd we have to laugh. Sometimes making light of something takes its power away. Sometimes taking ourselves too seriously is the fast track to misery. Shake it off. Life's a joke. Squares bring tension, and this day is going to be a tense one for sure. It's okay. This too shall pass. And on the other side of this transit, if you can allow the setbacks, the frustrations, the loss of resources, the criticisms, or rejections to teach you, you will come out the other side to some karmic rewards, even if it's just learning how to maintain a positive attitude while going through difficult shit. This square is challenging us to confront our fears around vulnerability. Where do you struggle to express your truth? What taught you to be afraid? The theme of balance is repeated here. Where can you inject intuitive discipline in your life? That's called inspired action. Sustainable progress isn't really about hard deadlines and rigid schedules. It's about doing what you can each day, making sure that every step of the way is grounded in not only what needs done, but also what feels good. Sometimes checking off your to-do list is self-care, but sometimes getting an extra hour of sleep feels even better. When you know how you feel in each moment, when you prioritize authenticity, you can greet each day, each version of yourself with loving and realistic expectations. You'll still get done what you need to, and you'll feel a hell of a lot better doing it. June 17th, Mars enters Virgo. Mars in Leo has been pretty kind to us over the last few weeks. Maybe you felt more gregarious, more action-oriented, you felt more drive, bossier, more motivated to go after what you want. But now we're slowing things down with Mars in Virgo. The devil is in the details. Slower doesn't have to mean boring or worse. It can just, God damn it. Slower doesn't have to mean boring or worse. It can just mean different. It's important to not always expect the exact same results from ourselves every single day, because every day is different and we are different every day. Scrutinize the little things. Tweak and hone and ground your vision. Be intentional with each step you take. Let precision be a meditative practice, but keep perfectionism out of it. Perfectionism and criticism are the fatal flaws of every Virgo. Don't let perfect get in the way of good enough, but also don't let good enough get in the way of great. Balance, my babies, balance. June 18th, we have Jupiter in Cancer square Neptune in Aries at 3 degrees. 3 degrees of Cancer, Sabian symbol is a man all bundled up in fur leading a shaggy deer. 3 degrees of Aries, the cameo profile of a man suggesting the shape of his country. Blaine Bovey says of 3 degrees of Cancer, if what lies beyond in the unimaginable realities unsettles security, one may passively accept self-imposed restrictions and binding limitations. Change may destabilize security, but that is only one potential outcome. The pain of expansion is real, but that doesn't mean it isn't worth it. Taking a break real quick to announce / plug June's Walk On Podcast topic episode dropping on June 15th. Put it in your calendars. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Opulence. Put the bass in your walk so you never miss an episode. It's going to be called The Pain of Expansion, and it's going to be about fisting. JK, it's going to be about growth through the lens of getting fisted. Are you following? Are you with me? Does it sound fun? Because it is. We are leaving the known path and entering into the unknown, cloaked in everything we decided we needed for the journey. Just take it one step at a time. Let the paths unfolding surprise, delight, and sure, sometimes scare you. When you take away the judgment around those emotions, you see that they all serve you if you let them. 3 degrees of Aries is about the individual self versus the whole. Everything is a spiral. Everything is a cycle. Birth is death and death is rebirth. Like the Ouroboros, like the chicken and the egg, endings and beginnings are nebulous. The thing about true, deep-rooted, from the gut authenticity is that the microcosm, the corner of the universe that is you, gives way to the macrocosmic, looping back around to where you become the mouthpiece for the universe, transmitting the frequency of being to everyone you encounter. The part becomes the whole becomes the part. A perfect circuit and then a spark. You may feel inspired today to model the strength of your convictions with inspired action. Don't talk about it, be about it. Am I going to do a Yoda? I don't know if I am. Do or do not. There is no try. That was enough. But tread carefully. This transit is a test of faith that comes from the tension that is innate in a square. Neptune represents illusions and delusions, so the test could come in the form of faltering because of something you weren't seeing clearly. It's okay. Take a deep breath and put your left hand in the center of your heart space. Honestly, I really needed that. Feel that good grounding energy. Embarrassment and regret may come up, but that's okay. You're just meant to feel them. Find forgiveness for yourself for not being omniscient. None of us are, not even the clairvoyants. Whatever comes up today, you can handle it. You may feel a little suspicious. Try not to take it too seriously. But if you can avoid making a commitment, signing a contract, or investing, gambling, or shooting your shot today, maybe just sleep on the decision. You are learning an important lesson through this experience. Allow it to connect you to that source consciousness, to the bigger picture, and let it teach you to trust your own resilience. Look at all you've already survived. You're amazing. Give yourself credit. June 20th, the sun enters Cancer. There's that pileup we've been talking about. Happy Cancer season! We've got quite the pileup in the earthiest water sign this month. Protect your peace. Start pinching people when they get on your nerves. Be the softest, squishiest curmudgeon you can be. Home is wherever you are, baby. Roam if you want to. Roam around the world. Roam if you want to, without wings, without wheels, without anything but the love we feel. There is a focus, a vision that the cosmos are giving us this month. I think that's why the theme is balance, because it would be very easy to be kind of one-track minded. Spend some time in or near water. Hydrate and be inspired to flow. Water signs are known for their strong intuition, so pull a few tarot cards, get a reading. You can get one from me if you want. Try automatic writing. Take a day to do nothing but follow your bliss and see what comes of it. Intuition is a muscle. If you don't lose it, you can lose your connection to it. You have the energy of the ocean inside you. If you sit with her and listen for long enough, you start to feel her rhythm in the autonomic processes of your body. Inhale, exhale. The tide pulls in, the tide goes out. You are divine. Just bask in it, just a little bit. June 24th, we got the sun conjunct Jupiter in Cancer at 4 degrees. The Sabian symbol of 4 degrees of Cancer is a cat arguing with a mouse. Blaine Bovey says of this symbol, one argues with oneself, hoping to convince oneself that the old impulses are still legitimate. This is the vibe of when the inner change has already started to unfold. The tower is already in the process of falling, but the experiencer is still trying to find a way to cling to the old anyway. It's this one last rattling breath of the white supremacist capitalist cis hetero patriarchy we're being forced to live through right now. Baby, it's done. All you're doing with all this resistance is delaying the inevitable and prolonging your suffering. Surrender. And if you're not ready to surrender, think about why you aren't ready. Be wary of pissing contests and ego trips. Also look out for ways you may be objectifying others. By any means necessary, as a strategy for anything, is kind of tired. Let's take a gentler and more mature approach. If it requires you to sacrifice your soul, then maybe it's not worth it. It's like I always say, there's more than one way to pet a cat. June 25th, we have the new moon in Leo. This new moon takes some time to reflect on your needs and boundaries. Connect with the impossibly soft core of you. Embrace any feelings that come up with radical acceptance. Even love them if you can manage. Do a meditation where you have a conversation with your inner child. What do they think of you? How are they hurting? Can you be the adult you didn't have? Reparenting yourself, if you had messed up parents, is one of the most loving acts you can do for yourself. It's so beautiful and so powerful. And best of all, it works. The things my family should have taught me when I was a child, like how to not utterly neglect my own health and well-being, I have now taught myself. And it feels almost as good as if I had learned it when I was supposed to. Same thing with a healthy attachment style, with confidence, with the ability to lay boundaries, individuation, having a sense of self. All that is learnable through reparenting. Give yourself some good self-care by honoring Cancer's love of staying the fuck home. Rest. Take a nap. Ask for help. Take a break. Take a breath. Set an intention for the coming month. What are you calling in? What are you releasing? How are you becoming? June 26, Mercury ingresses into Leo. Mercury in Leo paints with broad strokes. What they lack in detail-orientedness, they make up for in charm, social grace, positive vibes, and cheeky wit. Be brave and optimistic. You may feel a surge of creativity, so find an outlet for self-expression if you don't already have one. You may feel called to speak with more authority, and this may help you be more successful at convincing others to see things from your perspective. As always with any Leo placement, it is important to learn when to step forward and take up space and when to step back and have others shine too. It's a great time to step out into the spotlight. So if you've been waiting for a sign to put yourself out there, let this be it. June 29th, we have Mercury in Leo opposing Pluto in Aquarius at 4 degrees. The Sabian symbols here, 4 degrees of Leo, a man formally dressed and a deer with its horns folded. And 4 degrees of Aquarius is a Hindu healer glows with a mystic healing power. I am getting 8 of Swords energy about 4 degrees of Leo. The shoulds and supposed tos are often so limiting to us that we mistake it for an actual prison. But it's just thoughts, just ideas, just constructs. You can choose not to subscribe to them anytime you want. Sure, you may experience pushback, and there is something to be said for ease, aka privilege, of walking the path that has been well traveled. But if it doesn't feel right for you, go a different way. If it feels good and right enough, you'll stop caring about what other people think. This is where turning up the volume on your own voice comes in handy. Today, you are encouraged to connect to the spiritual center within you. It's interesting that this is the final big transit of the month because the whole month has carried themes of connecting to the spiritual core of yourself. We've been guided here all along. The galaxy brain level of healing is when you start to become a healer yourself. Not necessarily through credentials or accolades, but through showing, not telling. When you are healing, you glow. You become a magnet. People see the way you're living and they want to know how you manage. How you've survived and grown more loving. Helping others heal heals you too, making healers out of them. It's that chicken egg ripple thing again. If you're doing your healing work, you're changing the world. Period. I'm proud of you. You should be proud of yourself. So congratulations. And thank you. Communication challenges and deep insights into psychological issues may come up today. Don't fear the depths of Pluto. He is just trying to show us something. He's just trying to shine a little light on your shadow. Your mind may be processing a lot at this time, so an outlet for your thoughts may be helpful. Conversation, creativity, journaling, find a way to get it out. Otherwise, it can lead to overstimulation and exhaustion. Individual and relationship therapies are very supported under this transit. Knowledge is power. The more you understand, the easier all this will feel. Don't be afraid to dive deep. A strong sense of self and being connected from your inner knowing will help you avoid falling for scams or propaganda or allowing yourself to be silenced by threats, oppression, or psychological abuse. Take comfort in the fact that anyone trying to control you will not prevail. Pluto wants transformation more than anything. Stay strong, stay grounded, and stay true to yourself. Allow the you beneath the trauma, the programming, the ways we've made Earth so very unbearable to our spirits to unfold like a lotus flower. Out of the mud, more beautiful than it has any right to be. Let it be a reminder of what is possible. So that is June in a little nutty nutshell. I hope you enjoyed this astrology report. If you did, let me just remind you again that you can book a reading with me one-on-one. I do tarot, I do astrology. There's a bunch of different kinds. Click the link in my bio and then the services tab, or the link in the description box below and then the services tab, and you can scroll through and see all that I offer. I'm also going to add dream interpretation and one-on-one burlesque lessons if you're into any of that. So check that out. Check out my website in general. And thank you so much for being here and for listening. Put that in your calendars that the topic episode of this podcast is going to come out on the 15th. And I'm finally starting to work on an interview segment to go with this podcast, where I'll be talking to some of my brilliant friends, creatives, entrepreneurs, and just people whose journey I really admire. So that's coming to you probably starting in the fall, but I'm just starting to work on it and schedule it out now. So keep an eye out for that. And keep an eye out for new music. I'm going to be releasing some new music this summer. Good luck. May this Cancer energy bless you with abundance, with connection, with love, with authenticity, and with balance, most of all. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Happy healing. Bye.